Hey y'all and welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And if you're new around here, hello, my name is Katie Marie and I'm a lover of eyeshadow palettes, and I am busting at the seams to be able to do this video because I just got my Worldie palette from P.Louise today in the mail and I could not wait to sit down and play with it. As you can see, I've already played with it. We're going to get into the tutorial, but first I just want to show you guys the palette. We're going to swatch it out together. I'm going to share with you guys some first impressions. We'll get into the tutorial and then I'll give you kind of my overall summary at the end of the video. So if that sounds good to you, let me do my Instagram shout out and we can jump right into it. Today is going to be going to the beautiful melanin_queen48. She commented on my most recent post. She has been a long-time supporter of mine over on Instagram and I really do appreciate it. And you are my Instagram shout out for today. And per usual, if you want a chance to be featured, all you have to be doing is following me on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92 and interact with my content as it goes up, and then I randomly select someone when I sit down to film. So now let's get into talking about this palette. Alright, it is massive. Like, look at this thing. I went ahead and grabbed a couple other things. It does come in like a secondary sleeve. I guess I can be a good YouTuber and show you guys. But I grabbed my biggest palettes. I have the Makeup Revolution, the Emily Edit the Wants palette, that it is bigger than by far. And then I also have my Burger palette from Glamlight, which it is bigger. Like, this is hands down now the biggest palette that I own. It's like a little briefcase suitcase thing, which I guess makes sense because it's a Worldie palette. They also have sand in here so you guys can hear it. Like, pretty cool. My kids are gonna like it. The back is like, everything about it is very beautifully done. There's this little clasp here that you open it up. However, like, when you look at the palette, while it's beautiful and large, I feel like it is a little unnecessary. Is it that big of a deal? No, I bought it, but I'm not gonna say if I didn't absolutely love the color story, the size and girth of this thing would have been a reason I didn't buy it. However, as you guys can see, look at this color story. If this doesn't have my name written all over it, I don't know what does. It has the greens, it has the blues, it has the grunge, it has even the neutral colors that I like. Very few pinks and purples. It's made for me, so I had to get it. They did a really great job with production of it. It says Worldie on the center here, which is very pretty. All of them are mattes except for these three shimmers. I didn't use any of the shimmers today, so I'll be trying those later. The mirror itself is very nice and large, but one thing I will say, it doesn't look right. It doesn't look normal, I guess. Like a typical mirror, I feel like you can set it up, it's like, oh, it looks the same. When I'm looking into this, I don't know if it's because it's such a large mirror, I feel like I'm on like widescreen, if that makes sense. Like, everything's a little bit stretched out. But I will say it's nice that they have this there because it does allow you to like set it on your vanity, and I could have done my whole face because this mirror is humongous. So it has that option to it. And overall, like, packaging, there's a lot of thought and care and just creativity and just like giving you a really pretty product. Bulky, yes. Unnecessary, yes, but beautiful nonetheless. I love the pink and the white. I think that's really pretty mix, and I absolutely love the color story inside. I feel like the pink and white were a good companion to such a color story. It doesn't detract and it doesn't look too busy. Like, I feel like it was very well done, very well laid out, and overall, not the biggest fan of the packaging being so large. Like, look at that compared to my head. It's big, but I love the color story, so it was okay with me. Okay, are you guys ready to swatch? Let's swatch this baby. And I'm just gonna go row by row, starting at the top, and I'm gonna have to take these bracelets off because I know I'm gonna run out of room. Okay, I love a good swatch party. I will say that just swatching these out, the deepest color, which is like a blue purple, definitely feels a lot more dry and a little bit harder to pick up than these other shades. These other shades look so like creamy. I need to put these closer together because I'm not gonna have enough room. Come on, Katie, don't spread them out. Okay, that kind of makes sense. That swatch makes sense to the way it feels and also the way it applies, because I did use that shade. I'm just gonna go back over here and kind of mesh these two together so there's not a big gap there. But yeah, those are nice, but like I said, this makes sense to how it performed on the eyes because I did use it. It's just a bit drier and doesn't want to kind of hold together, which will be a little interesting. I'll definitely have to use that shade alone on the outer corner or something to see exactly how it does on its own, because I did just use this to top over a green shadow, so I'll definitely have to try that out before I give like my official review, which I haven't even said. If you want to see a 3 looks 1 palette plus review, let me know. I'm only going to do that if I get enough comments under this video of you guys saying that you want to see that, because it does take a lot of work. I do, do my best to try to get it up fast if you guys want to see it, because they just don't do that well on my channel. But like I said, if I get enough people leaving comments saying they want to see 3 looks 1 palette, I'll definitely do it. But if not, I'll just be reviewing it in my palette palooza at the end of the month. Okay, next 3 for this top row. This is a shimmer. Oh, that's a pretty shimmer. And then this is a shimmer as well. This feels extremely dry. That green, I will be curious to try the shimmers, just feeling them. They don't, like that green one, which was global, almost didn't want to stick down. Like it felt like that kind of dry, so maybe it'll need a glitter glue or some kind of primer stickiness underneath it. But again, I didn't use any of the shimmers, so I don't want to speak too much on the shimmers, just the, you know, the shadows that I did, but just feeling it. It definitely had to kind of give a little bit of pressure to get it to stick down. But there is the first row. Okay, the second row, I'm kind of like trying not to press too hard because I want to take pictures and still have the imprints in here. But anyway, here's the middle row. I'm not doing a good job keeping them all close together. I definitely feel like with these three up here, you could have definitely taken out one and not noticed. Like they're like, especially these two, what is that, Vacay and When in Rome. Those two, they're very close and they're both so kind of sheer and pastelish and light. And you're gonna see in the tutorial, I use both of those, so I have thoughts for both of them. But I definitely feel like they're a bit unnecessary because they don't have enough pigment in them, or like enough like not even just pigment but like shadow. They're kind of sheer that the color differences doesn't really stand out when you use it. Okay, and then the last three in this row, we're gonna go right here, make sure I'm in frame. That shade is really nice. That one, that was like butter going on. And then a neutral. I think that neutral will look really pretty with the oranges in this palette. That'll be a very pretty, my type of neutral. Okay, I'm getting a little dicey here because I'm running out of room. Let's go. This is the final row. Ooh, that was nicely pigmented. Yeah, there's definitely differences with the amount of like intensity and like, not intensity, but pigmentation and smoothness and like the feeling of these shadows between shadow and shadow. Like some of them, like this one, even that blue, they're just so buttery smooth. They glide on really nice. They have a lot of stick to them. They have that soft feeling to them. And then others like that purple and even this shade right here and the greens just have a very dry feeling to them. Like they're not as pigmented. Again, this is all first impressions. I'm not saying those are duds, but there's definitely a difference between matte to matte, which I was kind of surprised that there's such a difference. Like I guess I understand there being some difference because they're different colors, but there's like a drastic difference is I guess what I'm trying to say. Okay, these next three I cannot wait to use because this is like my grungy neutral. And also this shimmer, these two shimmers, as I was saying, are super dry, but this one feels really nice. So let's see how it swatches. Doing my best to stay in focus and in frame. Okay. Oh, look at that. Hunter green. Oh yeah. Wow. That was really nice. I know this is kind of lame for this orange, but I'm sticking them right on my elbow. That orange is pigmented. Oh, do you see the shine in that? Man, I am shocked how smooth and how pigmented and how shiny and how gorgeous that shimmer is, because these two shimmers up here, the only other two in the palette, did not feel promising at all. But that Destination, wow, I cannot wait to do a neutral grungy color with this palette, because this little corner down here, look at that shine. Absolutely gorgeous. All right, so here are all of the shadows swatched out. You can barely see it all, even there's on my elbow. But they look super pretty. I'm going to be throwing up over the screen some other swatches I'll do on this arm, so I'll try to make them a little bit nicer and try to squish them a little bit more so I don't get to my elbow. I feel like with the shadows that I use and just like swatching them out, they kind of, feeling them doesn't surprise me with the way they performed on the eyes. Though I will say, with this shade right here, I used it to kind of haze out my whole eye look, and I feel like it performed very nicely and was very pigmented. So again, it's one of those things where it might not feel the best swatching it out or even look that impressive, but using it in a, you know, a specific way will give nice results. Like I said, that shade worked really nice to blend out and diffuse, and I definitely could see it doing something to my eye look on the edges. But then when I used this other, I think this middle green one here, to pack on the inner corner, I couldn't see it and I didn't get the intensity. I'm getting ahead of myself though, because I'm going to be diving into it in my tutorial. So let's take a pause right here and go ahead and jump into the tutorial, and I can show you guys in real time how all of these shadows applied to my eyes. Okay, a bit of housekeeping before we dive in. I just laid Levi down, so he might make a little bit of noise here and there. And also for my eye bases, I used a P.Louise Eye Base in Rumor 02 on this side. And on this side, I used the Zoeva Eyeshadow Matte Longwear Eyeshadow Base because I've been using this for a while, so I just wanted to use something that I'm familiar with instead of just using something I just got, like the eye base from P.Louise. Oh yeah, and then also if my makeup looks rough, it's because I already had my makeup on for today and I just took off my eyes to do this video, so a little bit rough. It's because I already had my makeup done for today. Okay, I want to start with Europe. That's what I'm going to go in with first. Just start with this right here in the crease. I didn't set either of the bases. I don't think I said that. This is so weird. It's been so long since I've done like a sit down and do my makeup type of video. I can't remember with Levi. He's been cutting a lot of teeth recently. He's working on his fourth. He's got his bottom two and one on the top. And he's just about, or he just cut today, his fourth one. So ever since these teeth have been coming in, he just isn't napping much in his bed. And most of the naps are on me, so I just can't, not predictable at nap time. So anyway, I'm gonna take Rodeo Drive just to see the difference. I feel like it's very similar to the shade I just took. The shadows themselves are pretty powdery, just as a FYI. I don't mind powdery, but at the same time I want to FYI you guys that they are very powdery, like just tapping once in not only gets a lot, enough to tap off of the brush, but it also leaves a good bit of kick up in the pan. So if you're someone who doesn't like messiness with their shadows, or you know, doesn't want to have to be that careful, maybe you just want to stab in a couple times and be able to go, I think you'll make a big mess with this palette. This palette just needs a touch. It reminds me, the formula of just the way I'm picking up the shadow reminds me of Menagerie Cosmetics. There is hardly a difference. This one, I don't even know if you'll be able to see, but there's more of a true blueness, whereas this, it's blue that leans a little green. Maybe a little unnecessary to have both in the palette. That's just my 2 cents, but at the same time, like I said, I can see a difference. It's just very light. I feel like these shadows are going to work best being pressed on with a tacky base, since I'm starting with a tacky base, and then blend it out. And this definitely, yeah, like it was wanting to almost skip there for a second, but I just pressed a little and then started blending. Yeah. Okay, so definitely with those 2 shades, barely any difference. I was curious about that. Okay, now I'm going to go into Vacay, which is that lightest kind of lime green, I guess, yellow. I'm gonna put it right up here. I should probably do my other eye so you guys can see it better. I'm just gonna use it kind of like I guess you could say a brow bone highlight, but I'm starting where the line stops to try and blend out that blue. Because if there's one thing I struggle with blue looks, is that I feel like wherever you blend it out and stop, it just kind of looks odd or stark, whatever you want to call it. I just want to take it up higher like that and just soften that out a bit. I think that looks good. And I forgot, since I have my whole my face done, I can go ahead and round it out and bring it around. Usually I never do that because I have to wait till my face is done. Okay, I'm really liking how that looks. I'm liking the direction we're going. Let's keep it up. I'm gonna take Sky High. This palette is a beast to hold up. And I'm gonna take that right into my crease. I'm gonna do a half cut crease. So I wanna add a lot more depth right in here. I always start the wrong side. I don't know. Do you guys mind me starting on this side? I feel like I'm not the best angle for you guys to be able to see it. That's why I tend to, or try to remember not to. Just like that. This brush is a little big for what I'm wanting. I'm trying to be careful to only put it right there. I'll be curious to see how this looks on camera, because sometimes, you know, as I'm doing a look, I don't see like areas that I might be pulling or, you know, grabbing at, or areas that I just forgot to blend or whatnot. So I'll be curious to see how this looks when I go to edit this tonight. But right now, as I'm doing this, it's like super easy to blend all these shades together. Okay, now I want to go into Barrier Reef, and I'm going to put that on the outer corner, and if I want it to go deeper, then I'll go to the other. There's 2 other shades in this palette that are darker. I'm just not sure how dark I'm wanting to go out here, or how dark these shadows will get. Oh, I also forgot to note, teensy bit of fallout here, a good bit of fallout here. Again, I just started placing this down, so that might be why, but not too bad on the fallout. Yeah, I want to go darker than that. So let's go into the Alps, which is the darkest green in this palette. Let's pack that right on top. I think that'll work. Yeah, I think that'll work. You know what, as I'm packing this on, like it's giving me the color I want, but I actually want it more blue because I feel like my crease is so blue, so I know I'm just so indecisive over here. I'm gonna go into San Francisco. It's a little purple leading, but I feel like if I can combine the two, like, you know, put this on top of the deep green, it might give me the depth that I'm wanting. We're gonna try it. This purple looks like it would be really nice to deepen up an all purple look because it's just so deep of a shade. Yeah, that's giving me a little bit more, just a touch. I'm not putting too much because it is very, I feel like it looks very purple leaning and I don't want purple exactly, but I want more depth to this green. I'm gonna go back into Sky High, that shade right in the crease. I'm gonna use that to blend this. Tends to be like what I do when I want to blend crease with the deepest shade, just so I don't take that dark color up too high. I'll go back to that shade that I put into my crease. Okay, that is looking nice. Let me dust off this. It wasn't too hard to dust off. Okay, I'm gonna finish off my lower lash line. I'm gonna go into that San Francisco. I figured I'll do my lower lash line, that way I can kind of bring it all around and diffuse it out. I'm gonna take San Francisco just against my lower lash line. I'm having to dip into this a couple times, but I'm pretty sure it's my brush. This is a Coastal Scents brush. Not the best brush. Okay, it's definitely looking a little not the color I want. So I'm gonna go into the Alps, the green, the darkest green we put in there, and I'm gonna layer that on top. I will say, like, if these layer so beautifully as they look to be now, I feel like that gives this palette a lot more options. I forget if this is supposed to be like a pigment palette, but maybe that's why these are all blending together so nice. Like the colors are combining so nicely. Because sometimes, especially deeper colors, I feel like sometimes they're just like, yeah, no, I'm not blending with that color. You can't make me. Okay, and then I'm going to take Sky High, which I was using in my crease, and I want to use this to bring this down and around just a teeny bit. I don't want too much, but I'm using this to help connect the two, and then I'll end out with, I think, the green, which I think I'm just gonna take Rodeo Drive, Rodeo, whatever. I think I just called it, or you did the wrong pronunciation. Just gonna take a bit of this and bring it around. I think I'll also bring it up in here. Try not to drag it too far, but at the same time, I think it can look pretty good if you drag it a little farther than you think you should. Is that weird? I feel like, oh, I hope I'm in frame. Just like that. I'm trying to be so careful as I dip into this palette because I still need to take pictures. Okay, Vacay, which is the color I put up here. Once again, these are so pigmented. Do you guys, I feel like Vacay is just so light, it almost looks like it won't do anything, but as you can see, like, it gives me that halo that I'm wanting. This is looking a little crazy without my wing on. I feel like I'll feel better once the wing is on. Okay. Wow, I feel like that looks really cool. Okay, now I'm going to do my cut crease. I could use a P.Louise, but I'm just gonna go with this little Catrice one just because it's kind of like a 2-for-1, so it's just quicker for me. Let me cut it real quick. Okay, I'm just gonna finish up on this eye and then I'll do this eye off screen just in case any kiddos wake up. I can complete it here and then do the other one off screen. Anyway, okay, so for this part, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm going to use, I keep going back and forth. I think I'm going to use Baggage over most of it because this green is just, it's been calling my name since I saw this palette teased. It looks so pretty, so I'm going to put that over most of it. I feel like with this shadow, it's a little bit more subdued than I guess I would say I thought looking at it on camera or in the pan. It just looks so bright, but still, it's very pigmented, very nice. I had no issues applying that, covering that concealer. Yeah, that was really easy and effortless, and there's no patching. No changing colors. I like it. Okay. You know what? Let's just do Big Apple. Let's do it. That one's calling my name for some reason. Put that. I think it'll be like that, and then we'll blend it up. Do you guys like when I do these type of videos? I know other people I enjoy, but I feel like I haven't done it in forever, and I just kind of got away from doing any type of like doing my makeup while talking, like palette bingo or duping a fake palette, just because of the stage Levi's in has been pretty difficult the last couple months. As far as like doing my makeup when he's awake is almost impossible, and then trying to do it and be able to film a video while he's asleep. He always wakes up. I mean, it's been interesting. It's been like he'll sleep in his bed for maybe 30 minutes, and we'll see with this video. I feel like he's gonna be waking up at the end of it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts if you guys enjoy this type of thing. Okay, I really like how that looks. I feel like that looks really simple, but there's still a bright pop. For that inner corner, I wanna use that last kind of yellow lime green that's going on, which is When in Rome. This palette is monstrous, but I gotta admit, it's very pretty. Like the details that went into like the pan pressing and stuff like that, it's very beautiful. Okay. This shade I would definitely describe as more pastel. And maybe a little sheer. Like it's doing something, but it just looks, it's very see-through, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Doesn't necessarily mean it's terrible, it's just, yeah, it's a lot lighter than I was anticipating for my inner corner, or like what I was wanting for my inner corner. That shade just might be a better kind of companion working with something, like blending out an edge or something like that, because that didn't do a whole lot for my inner corner. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cheat a little bit, and I'm going to take, let's see, I'm gonna take I-O or L-O. Oh, someone told me, I feel so bad, I'm trying to remember. Because she said it was stood for Jupiter's moon, which absolutely makes sense knowing Terra moons and how they like to name their stuff, but I forget how she pronounces it. Oh yeah, very pretty Terra moons. Okay, so I'm just going to do a wing, put on lashes, which if you're curious, I'm going to be putting on Colourlit. I'm going to be putting on Colourlit lashes and enough. Gideon destroyed my box way long ago. And then I'm going to do the same to the other eye, and then I will be all done and we can close out the video with some final thoughts. I should have said this beforehand, but like I got all the postpartum regrowth happening, and I learned to live with it because there's just nothing you can do, so I'm sorry you get my little horn up here. But anyway, I hope you guys found that helpful. Let me know your thoughts down below. How do you like the final look? Here it is. I will throw up close-ups as I always do. So yeah, at this point, I just kind of want to give some first impressions. I'm very pleased overall. I definitely wouldn't say that like all of the matte shades in here are created equal and they're all stunning. I feel like there are going to be ones that might be more duds, but I feel like just using this palette in general, using them together and working them on the eye, they will work very well, and you just might have a handful of duds. Like purple, that San Francisco, it might be a dud, but like you saw in today's look, I feel like it added something to the green to make it a little more blue, which was what I wanted for this look, so I was happy. So it's just going to take more playing with this palette to really be able to see, but I feel like first impressions, just kind of using them. If you like my kind of colors, if you like the blues, the greens, and the yellows, and if you like grungy, this is a really great palette. I am very happy to have it. Definitely just using it this first time. If this is the only look I could ever do with this palette and it would turn out like this, I'd be very happy. If you're new around here, I'm someone who absolutely loves all matte looks. So again, with this only having 3 shimmers, I am so happy about that because it gives me so many options. So overall, I'm very pleased. You guys heard my thoughts as I was going through this tutorial, and that's really just my first impressions on it. Overall, I'm very happy, but there are definitely some shades that I'm gonna have to continue using and just to see what they're capable of, to see how they work alone together with other shades. But I think overall, the one thing that stands out about this palette is that they mesh and blend very nicely with each other, which doesn't always happen, especially when you have intensely pigmented shadows. I feel like sometimes this is a pressed pigment palette. This eye look that I did, I feel like it blended and meshed together beautifully, and it was very easy to get. I was very impressed with how little work I had to do to blend out and blend these colors together. So overall, extremely happy, extremely pleased, and I cannot wait to try it more and try those other shadows that I have now swatched and kind of seen like, that might be a little tricky. So let me know if you guys want to see a 3 looks 1 palette plus review, and I'll definitely try those questionable shadows and include it in the tutorial video so you guys can see how they work in real time and see if I have any issues with them. And then at the end, and here are my overall thoughts and reviews for this P.Louise Worldie palette. I don't think I mentioned in the beginning, but this is my very first P.Louise purchase, so I was really excited because I've heard fantastic things. I follow her Instagram account, and the eye looks that she does and like reposts and all that, I think I save almost every one into my inspiration folder because they're just so beautiful, so stunning. The color combos, absolutely beautiful. So when she put out this palette with such a color story that was so up my alley, it wouldn't have mattered if this was twice the size. I probably still would have bought it because it was just, the color story was so neat, and I've been so curious to try her formula. So yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it informative and helpful, and if you did, let me know that down below in the comments, and leave this video a thumbs up as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. And if you want to continue getting daily content from me, I'm over on Instagram. I'm LadyKatie92, and I post over there about every day. But yeah, with all that said, I will see you very soon in my next video. Bye guys.